This is the story I've never told anyone. This is the truth that nobody knows. And after today, I'm done staying silent. My name is Sophia. I'm 24 years old, and I have an identical twin sister named Victoria. We look the same. We sound the same. We came from the same womb. But according to my parents, we are nothing alike. Christmas morning, our family home. The living room was decorated like something out of a magazine. White lights wrapped around the fireplace, expensive ornaments on the tree, a massive stack of presents in the corner. My parents sat on the sofa. Victoria and I were standing in front of them, and what happened in the next 10 minutes would change everything. My mother smiled that specific smile she uses when she's about to announce something she thinks is wonderful. "Girls, we have decided to give each of you something very different this year," she said. My father stood up. He was holding a set of keys. Those keys looked expensive. "Victoria, darling, come here," my mother said. "We have been so incredibly proud of you. You're everything we could have asked for in a daughter." Victoria stepped forward. My father handed her the keys. Outside, visible through the bay window, was a brand new $117,000 Range Rover. Brand new, with a massive gold bow tied around it. Victoria started screaming. She was crying happy tears. My parents were hugging her. My father was telling her how much she deserved it. My mother was filming the whole thing for social media. And then they turned to me. My mother's expression changed. It wasn't dramatic, just a small shift, like a light dimming. "Sophia, we have something for you too," she said, but her voice sounded different, colder. She handed me a small box. I opened it slowly. Inside was a mug, a $5 mug that said, "The Other Twin." I didn't understand. At first, I thought it was a joke. I waited for someone to laugh. Nobody laughed. My father looked at me with an expression I had never seen before. It was pity, but not the kind you feel for someone you love, the kind you feel for something that disappointments you. "Sophia, Victoria has always been the special one," my mother said. "She's outgoing. She's beautiful in a way that stands out. You're more reserved. We thought this gift would be a gentle reminder of your place in the family." Your place, my place. I looked at my twin sister, the person I shared a womb with, the person I had known my entire life. She wouldn't make eye contact with me. And then my father said something that I will never forget. "Victoria is going to do great things. She's going to be successful. She's going to travel the world. She's everything we hoped for. You, Sophia, you're reliable. You'll probably end up in some stable job. You'll be fine. That's the best we can hope for you." The best they can hope for me is fine. I stood there holding that mug and I realized something. My parents had decided who I was before I was even born. They had decided that I would be the lesser twin, the one who wasn't good enough, the one who didn't matter as much. And they had made that decision stick. I need to tell you how I got here. I need to tell you about a lifetime of being compared to someone who was considered superior just for existing. From the moment we were born, people treated us differently. Victoria was the beautiful one. Sophia was the quiet one. Victoria was the social one. Sophia was the studious one. Victoria was going places. Sophia would be fine. Our parents reinforced this every single day. When we were 5 years old, we both took ballet classes. Our teacher told our parents that I showed exceptional promise. I had better technique. I was more disciplined. I had real potential. My parents took Victoria to more lessons and quit taking me. They said Victoria needed the extra confidence boost. When we were 10, both Victoria and I were tested for the gifted program at school. I scored higher. I tested into advanced placement classes in every subject. Victoria did not. My parents praised Victoria for being brave and trying. They told me my test scores meant nothing because I was just naturally smart, like intelligence wasn't something to be proud of. When we were 16, I got accepted into a prestigious early college program. I would graduate with my associate degree and my high school diploma at the same time. It was a huge achievement. Victoria got invited to be in a local modeling campaign. My parents spent the entire week celebrating Victoria's modeling gig. When I mentioned my college acceptance, my mother said, "That's nice, honey, but don't you think you're pushing yourself too hard?" I finished that program. I graduated with honors. I started working toward my bachelor's degree while working 2 jobs to pay for it. Victoria did the modeling campaign. One campaign. And then when it ended, she complained that nobody was scouting her anymore. Our parents bought her a new car to cheer her up. I paid for my own used Honda with money. I made working night shifts. College was where the gap between us truly became undeniable. I worked, I studied. I maintained a 3.9 GPA. I got internships at major corporations. I was building a future. Victoria went to the same college. She partied. She switched majors 4 times. She spent most of her time at bars and clubs. She eventually graduated with a degree in communications because it required the least amount of work. When Victoria graduated, our parents threw her a party. They invited 200 people. They rented out a venue. They spent over $10,000 celebrating her achievement of simply showing up. When I graduated, my parents said, "That's wonderful, Sophia. We're sure you'll figure out what to do with that degree." Figure out what to do. Like I hadn't already planned my entire career trajectory. Victoria got a job at a marketing firm. It was given to her because of a family friend's connection. She had no experience, no portfolio, no qualifications. She just got it because someone knew someone. I applied to 43 jobs. I interviewed at 27 companies. I got rejected at 26 of them. I finally landed a position at an accounting firm because of my merit, because of my qualifications, because I earned it. But my parents bragged about Victoria's job constantly. They told people about her fancy marketing position. They never mentioned my job. And then came Christmas morning with that mug. The other twin. I stood in that living room and I understood that my parents had not just favored Victoria. They had actively chosen to diminish me, to make me feel like less, to ensure that I understood my place in the family hierarchy. And I was done. I didn't yell, I didn't cry, I didn't create a scene. I simply looked at my parents and said, "Thank you for being clear about what you think of me." My mother looked confused. "What do you mean?" "I mean that you just told me I'm the lesser version of my sister, the disappointing one, the one you don't have high hopes for. I heard you loud and clear." My father tried to backtrack. "Sophia, that's not what we meant." "Yes, it is," I said, "and I'm done accepting it." I set the mug down on the coffee table, very carefully, very deliberately. And then I walked to the guest room where I had packed an overnight bag the night before, because somewhere deep down, I knew this day was coming. I grabbed my bag, I grabbed my coat, I walked to the front door. Victoria called after me, "Sophia, don't be dramatic." But I wasn't being dramatic, I was being smart. I got in my car and drove away from that house. I drove for hours. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a destination. I just knew I couldn't be there anymore. I ended up at a hotel near the university where I had gone to college. I checked in and locked myself in the room. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel guilty about it. My phone started ringing at 6 a.m. on December 26th. My mother called 6 times. My father called 4 times. Victoria called once and then texted, "This is insane. Come back." I turned my phone off and went back to sleep. When I turned it back on, I had 52 missed calls and 103 text messages. The first one came at 6:47 a.m. "Sophia, get back here right now. You're embarrassing the family." I was embarrassing the family, not by leaving, but by daring to leave. I called my best friend Amber. We had known each other since elementary school. She was the only person who had ever truly seen me for who I was, not the quiet twin, not the studious one, just Sophia. "Amber, I need help," I said. "I need to get out of my family." She didn't ask questions. She just said, "Come stay with me, we'll figure it out." I drove to Amber's apartment and moved in that day. She let me sleep on her couch. She let me cry when I needed to. She let me be angry. She let me heal. And she did something my family never did. She LISDNED. Your parents are wrong, Amber said after I told her everything. You're not the lesser twin. You're actually the stronger one. You had to fight for everything. Victoria had everything handed to her and she still didn't manage to build anything real. You're the one with actual substance. For the first time, I heard those words and I BLIVD them. I threw myself into my job. I stopped comparing myself to Victoria. I stopped looking for validation from people who had never going to give it to me, and I just focused on building MY life. 3 months after I left, my boss called me into her office. Sophia, I've been watching your work, she said. You're exceptional. I'm creating a new position. Senior analyst with a team reporting to you. It comes with a significant raise and room for advancement. I want you for this role. I took the position, and I was incredible at it. But here's where things got interesting. 6 months after I left, my cousin texted me. She said Victoria's marketing firm had done some major layoffs. Victoria was one of the people laid off. The only reason she had gotten the job in the first place was the family connection. And when that connection retired, suddenly Victoria had no protection. Victoria was unemployed, and she was struggling. My parents, it turns out, had been using Victoria as a trophy. They had been bragging about her job and her car to maintain their status. But Victoria wasn't actually competent. She had never had to develop real skills. She had never had to work hard. And when she was suddenly on her own, she fell apart. Meanwhile, I was being promoted. I was getting raises. I was building a career that was real and solid and couldn't be taken away from me. My mother tried to contact me through Facebook. She sent me a message that said, Sophia, your sister is going through a difficult time. She needs her twin. Please come home. Victoria needed me. Of course she did, because Victoria had never had to be independent. Victoria had never had to figure anything out on her own. I didn't respond. Then came the call from my father. He somehow got my new number. Sophia, your mother is very ill. We need you to come home. Victoria can't handle this alone. He was lying. I called my aunt and confirmed it. My mother was fine. He was just trying to manipulate me into coming back. I called him back immediately. Dad, I know Mom isn't sick. I know you're just trying to get me to come home. And I'm not coming. I'm not going to drop my life to take care of people who treated me like I was nothing. Sophia, you don't understand. I understand perfectly. You and Mom built Victoria up and tore me down. And now that Victoria is failing on her own, you need me to fix it. But I'm not fixing anything. I'm done. I hung up. He called back immediately. I didn't answer. He called 5 more times. I didn't answer any of them. I blocked his number. What happened next was beautiful. 1 year after I left, I got promoted again, this time to manager of the entire analytics department. I was making well over 6 figures. I had a real title. I had real authority. I had a real future. I had created this all by myself, without my parents, without their approval, without their support. Victoria, meanwhile, was working at a clothing retail store, making minimum wage, still living at home with my parents, still completely dependent on them. And my parents, they were struggling financially. It turned out they had been spending money they didn't have to maintain their image. My father's business was failing. They had taken out loans. They were facing serious financial trouble. And they needed me. My mother tried to reach out through my cousin again. Your mother wants to reconcile, my cousin said. She's very sorry for everything. I knew what that meant. She was sorry because she needed something from me. She wasn't sorry because she felt guilty about how she had treated me. I never responded. And then my aunt called me with information that changed everything. Sophia, I need to tell you something, she said. Your parents have been telling people that you had a mental breakdown, that you're jealous of Victoria and that's why you left, that you've always been unstable and emotional. They were rewriting history. They were making themselves the victims. But when my aunt started asking other family members questions, something incredible happened. People remembered. They remembered watching me work through college while Victoria partied. They remembered me getting good grades while Victoria got recognition. They remembered the pattern. And when they heard my parents' version of events, they didn't believe it. They believed me. 1 year after I left, I was sitting in my office overlooking the city. I had a life that was completely and totally mine. I had built it from nothing. I had earned every single bit of it. And I never thought about my family unless someone brought them up. The mug, the one that said the other twin, I threw it away the day I moved into my apartment with Amber. I didn't need a reminder of their cruelty. I had something better. I had proof. Proof of my own worth. Proof that I was never the lesser twin. Proof that I was stronger than any of them. If you're watching this and you have a sibling, a twin or otherwise, who is favored over you, I need you to hear me. I need you to listen. Your parents' preference for your sibling does not mean anything about your value. Their inability to see what makes you special does not mean you're not special. Sometimes the people who are supposed to love you unconditionally are the ones who love you the least. But here's what I learned. That's their loss, not yours. I was the twin they didn't choose, but I chose myself, and I built something they could never take away from me. The lesson here is this. Don't spend your life trying to compete with someone your parents have already decided to favor. Don't waste your energy trying to prove you're good enough to people who have already decided you're not. Just leave. Build your own life. Become the person you want to be. My parents created this situation. They made the choice to diminish me every single day of my childhood. They chose to celebrate Victoria's mediocrity while ignoring my accomplishments. And then they were shocked when I decided I was done. I refused to feel guilty for choosing myself. I refused to apologize for leaving. And I refused to go back to people who made me feel like I was less than my twin. Because I was never less. I was always more. I was just surrounded by people too blind to see it. Thank you for watching. And if you're struggling with your own family situation, remember this. The best revenge isn't doing anything dramatic. The best revenge is building a life so good, so strong, so undeniable that you don't need their approval anymore. That you don't want their approval anymore. That's when you know you've truly won.